We spread word the Inquisition was coming. But you should know that no one here was expecting us.
No one? Not even Grand Enchanter Fiona?
If she was, she hasn't told anyone. We've arranged use of the tavern for the negotiations.
Agents of the Inquisition, my apologies. Magister Alexius is in charge now, but hasn't yet arrived. He's expected shortly. You can speak with the former Grand Enchanter in the meantime.
Welcome, agents of the Inquisition. What has brought you to Redcliffe?
Is this some sort of test? We're here because you invited us in Val Royeaux.
You must be mistaken. I haven't been to Val Royeaux since before the Conclave.
There is no mistake. While the Templars were leaving, you came to Val Royeaux and asked me here.
The Templars left Val Royeaux? Where did they go? That sounds... Why does that sound so strange? Whoever or whatever brought you here, the situation has changed. The Free Mages have already pledged themselves to the service of the Tevinter Imperium.
An alliance with Tevinter? Do you not fear all of Thedas turning against you?
Andraste's ass. I'm trying to think of a single worse thing you could have done, and I've got nothing.
I understand that you are afraid, but you deserve better than slavery to Tevinter.
As one indentured to a Magister, I no longer have the authority to negotiate with you.
Very well. Who's in charge now?
Welcome, my friends. I apologize for not greeting you earlier.
Agents of the Inquisition, allow me to introduce Magister Alexius.
The Southern Mages are under my command. And you are the survivor, yes? The one from the Fade? Interesting.
I'd like to know more about this alliance between the rebel mages and the Imperium.
Certainly. What specifically do you wish to know?
The Grand Enchanter told me she was indentured to a Magister.
Our Southern brethren have no legal status in the Imperium. As they were not born citizens of Tevinter, they must work for a period of 10 years before gaining full rights. As their protector, I shall oversee their work for the Imperium.
I'm not clear on when exactly you negotiated this arrangement with Fiona.
When the Conclave was destroyed, these poor souls faced the brutality of the Templars, who rushed to attack them. It could only be through divine providence that I arrived when I did.
It was certainly very timely.
What does the Imperium gain from taking rebel mages under its wing?
For the moment, the Southern Mages are a considerable expense. After they are properly trained, they will join our Legion.
You said not all my people would be military. There are children, those not suited.
And one day I'm sure they will all be productive citizens of the Imperium when their debts are paid.
I haven't seen any sign of Redcliffe's Arl or his men.
The Arl of Redcliffe left the village.
Al Tegan did not abandon his lands during the Blight, even when they were under siege.
There were tensions growing. I did not want an incident.
I'm here to get mages to close the breach.
Right, to business. I understand, of course. Felix, would you send for a scribe, please? Pardon my manners. My son Felix, friends. I am not surprised you're here. Containing the breach is not a feat that many could even attempt. There is no telling how many mages would be needed for such an endeavor. Ambitious, indeed.
Does that mean you'll lend your mages to our cause?
There will have to be. Felix.
My lord, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
Are you all right?
I'm fine, Father.
Come, I'll get your powders. Please excuse me, friends. We will have to continue this another time. Fiona, I require your assistance back at the castle.
I don't mean to trouble everyone.
I shall send word to the Inquisition. We will conclude this business at a later date.
Come to the Chantry. You are in danger.
Something like that.
Good. You're finally here. Now help me close this, would you?
They can take you!
Fascinating. How does that work exactly? You don't even know, do you? You just wiggle your fingers and boom. Rift closes.
Who are you?
Ah, getting ahead of myself again, I see. Dorian of House Parvus, most recently of Minrathous. How do you do?
Another Tevinter. Be cautious with this one.
Suspicious friends you have here. Magister Alexius was once my mentor, so my assistance should be valuable, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Are you a Magister?
All right, let's say this once. I'm a mage from Tevinter, but not a member of the Magisterium. I know Southerners use the terms interchangeably, but that only makes you sound like barbarians.
I was expecting Felix to be here.
I'm sure he's on his way. He was to give you the note, then meet us here after ditching his father.
Alexius couldn't jump to Felix's side fast enough when he pretended to be faint. Is something wrong with him?
He's had some lingering illness for months. Felix is an only child, and Alexius is being a mother hen, most likely.
Are you the one who sent that note, then?
I am. Someone had to warn you after all. Look, you must know there's danger. That should be obvious even without the note. Let's start with Alexius claiming the allegiance of the mage rebels out from under you. As if by magic, yes? Which is exactly right. To reach Redcliffe, before the Inquisition, Alexius distorted time itself.
I hope that's less dangerous than it sounds.
More.
That is fascinating if true, and almost certainly dangerous.
The rift you closed here. You saw how it twisted time around itself, sped some things up and slowed others down. Soon, there will be more like it, and they'll appear further and further away from Redcliffe. The magic Alexius is using is wildly unstable, and it's unraveling the world.
You're asking me to take a lot on faith.
I know what I'm talking about. I helped develop this magic. When I was still his apprentice, it was pure theory. Alexius could never get it to work. What I don't understand is why he's doing it, ripping time to shreds just to gain a few hundred lackeys.
He didn't do it for them.
Took you long enough. Is he getting suspicious?
No, but I shouldn't have played the illness card. I thought he'd be fussing over me all day. My father's joined a cult, Tevinter Supremacists. They call themselves Venatori. And I can tell you one thing. Whatever he's done for them, he's done it to get to you.
Alexius is your father. Why are you working against him?
For the same reason Dorian works against him. I love my father, and I love my country. But this? Cults? Time magic? What he's doing now is madness. For his own sake, you have to stop him.
It would also be nice if he didn't rip a hole in time. There's already a hole in the sky.
Why would he rearrange time and indenture the Mage Rebellion just to get to me?
They're obsessed with you, but I don't know why. Perhaps because you survived the Temple of Sacred Ashes.
You can close the rifts. Maybe there's a connection. Or they see you as a threat.
If the Venatori are behind those rifts or the breach in the sky, they're even worse than I thought.
Do you have any suggestions?
You know you're his target. Expecting the trap is the first step in turning it to your advantage. I can't stay in Redcliffe. Alexius doesn't know I'm here, and I want to keep it that way for now. But whenever you're ready to deal with him, I want to be there. I'll be in touch. Oh, and Felix, try not to get yourself killed.
There are worse things than dying, Dorian.
We don't have the manpower to take the castle. Either we find another way in, or give up this nonsense and go and get the Templars.
Redcliffe is in the hands of a Magister. This cannot be allowed to stand.
The letter from Alexius asked for the Herald of Andraste by name. It's an obvious trap.
We can't waste time fighting among ourselves. We have to come to an agreement.
A Tevinter Magister controls Redcliffe, invites us to the castle to talk, and some of us want to do nothing.
Not this again.
Redcliffe Castle is one of the most defensible fortresses in Ferelden. It has repelled thousands of assaults. If you go in there, you'll die. And we'll lose the only means we have of closing these rifts. I won't allow it.
And if we don't even try to meet Alexius, we lose the mages, and leave a hostile foreign power on our doorstep.
Even if we could assault the keep, it would be for naught. An Orlesian Inquisition's army marching into Ferelden would provoke a war. Our hands are tied.
The Magister
has outplayed us.
The Magister's son, Felix, told me Alexius is in a cult that's obsessed with me. I doubt they'll graciously receive our apologies and go about their business.
They will remain a threat, and a powerful one, unless we act.
We cannot accept defeat now. There must be a solution.
Where is the Arl of Redcliffe? I'm sure he'd help us get his castle back.
After he was displaced, Arl Tegan rode straight for Dunnerin to petition the Crown for help. I doubt he'll want our assistance once the Ferelden army lays siege to his castle.
Wait. There is a secret passage into the castle, an escape route for the family. It's too narrow for our troops, but we could send agents through.
Too risky. Those agents will be discovered well before they reach the Magister.
That's why we need a distraction. Perhaps the envoy Alexius wants so badly.
Keep attention on Adar, while we disable the Magister's defenses. It's a gamble, but it might work.
Fortunately, you'll have help.
This man says he has information about the Magister and his methods, Commander.
Your spies will never get past Alexius's magic without my help. So if you're going after him, I'm coming along.
The plan puts you in the most danger. We can't in good conscience order you to do this. We can still go after the Templars if you'd rather not play the bait. It's up to you.
Announce us.
The Magister's invitation was for Master Adar only. These others will have to remain here.
Where I go, they go.
My Lord Magister, the agents of the Inquisition have arrived.
My friend, it's so good to see you again. And your associates, of course. I'm sure we can work out some arrangement that is equitable to all parties.
Are we mages to have no voice in deciding our fate?
Fiona, you would not have turned your followers over to my care if you did not trust me with their lives.
If the Grand Enchanter wants to be part of these talks, then I welcome her as a guest of the Inquisition.
Thank you.
The Inquisition needs mages to close the breach, and I have them. So, what shall you offer in exchange?
Actually, I hoped you could tell me about these Venatori I'm hearing so much about.
Now, where could you have heard that name?
I told him.
Felix, what have you done?
You wanted me here. Why?
Do you know what you are? You walk into my stronghold with your stolen mark, a gift you don't even understand, and think you're in control. You're nothing but a mistake.
If you know so much, enlighten me. Tell me what this mark on my hand is for.
It belongs to your betters. You wouldn't even begin to understand its purpose.
Father, listen to yourself. Do you know what you sound like?
He sounds exactly like the sort of villainous cliché everyone expects us to be.
Dorian, I gave you a chance to be a part of this. You turned me down. The Elder One has power you would not believe. He will raise the Imperium from its own ashes.
That's who you serve? The one who killed the Divine? Is he a mage?
Soon, he will become a god. He will make the world bow to mages once more. We will rule from the Boric Ocean to the frozen seas.
You can't involve my people in this.
Alexius, this is exactly what you and I talked about never wanting to happen. Why would you support this?
Stop it, Father. Give up the Venatori. Let the Southern Mages fight the breach, and let's go home.
No. It's the only way, Felix. He can save you.
Save me?
There is a way. The Elder One promised, if I undo the mistake at the temple.
I'm going to die. You need to accept that.
Seize them, Venatori. The Elder One demands this man's life.
Your men are dead, Alexius.
You are a mistake. You should never have existed.
Blood of the Elder One. Where'd they come from?
Get ready! Another blighter!
Displacement. Interesting. It's probably not what Alexius intended. The rift must have moved us to what? The closest confluence of arcane energy?
The last thing I remember, we were in the castle hall.
Let's see. If we're still in the castle, it isn't. Oh, of course, it's not simply where, it's when. Alexius used the amulet as a focus. It moved us through time.
That doesn't sound good.
It sounds terrible. Depending on when we are and what happened while we were away. Let's look around, see where the rift took us. Then we can figure out how to get back. If we can.
What was Alexius trying to do?
I believe his original plan was to remove you from time completely. If that happened, you would never have been at the Temple of Sacred Ashes or mangled his Elder One's plan. I think your surprise in the castle hall made him reckless. He tossed us into the rift before he was ready. I countered it. The magic went wild, and here we are. Make sense?
It just seems so insane.
I don't even want to think about what this will do to the fabric of the world. We didn't travel through time so much as punch a hole through it and toss it into the privy. But don't worry. I'm here. I'll protect you.
Alexius mentioned an Elder One in the hall. Do you know who he was talking about?
Leader of the Venatori, I suspect. Some Magister aspiring to godhood. It's the same old tune. Let's play with magic we don't understand. It will make us incredibly powerful. Evidently, it doesn't matter if you rip apart the fabric of time in the process.
There were others in the hall. Could they have been drawn through the rift?
I doubt it was large enough to bring the whole room through. Alexius wouldn't risk catching himself or Felix in it. They're probably still where and when we left them. In some sense, anyway.
You have a plan to get us back, I hope.
I have some thoughts on that. They're lovely thoughts, like little jewels.
The light shall lead her safely through the paths of this world and into the next. For she who trusts in the Maker, fire is her water. You've returned to us. Can it be? Has Andraste given us another chance? Maker, forgive me. I failed you. I failed everyone. The end must truly be upon us if the dead return to life.
I'm not back from the dead, Cassandra. I just got... Well, this is hard to explain.
I was there. The Magister obliterated you with a gesture.
Alexius sent us forward in time. If we find him, we may be able to return to the present.
Go back in time. Then, can you make it so that none of this ever took place?
That's my hope.
Alexius is master. After you died, we could not stop the Elder One from rising. Empress Celine was murdered. The army that swept in afterwards, it was a horde of demons. Nothing stopped them. Nothing.
We'll stop all that from happening. I promise.
Maker, guide us all.
You're alive. We saw you die.
The spell Alexius cast displaced us in time. We just got here, so to speak.
Can you reverse the process? You could return and obviate the events of the last year. It may not be too late.
I'm glad you understood what he just said, because I'm not sure I did.
You would think such understanding would stop me from making such terrible mistakes. You would be wrong. This world is an abomination. It must never come to pass.
You're alive. I saw you disappear into the rift.
I don't understand. What's happened to you?
Red Lyrium. It's a disease. The longer you're near it, eventually you become this. Then they mine your corpse for more.
Can you tell us the date? It's very important.
Avestmir. 942 Dragon.
942? Then we've missed an entire year.
We have to get out of here. Go back in time.
Please, stop this from happening. Alexius serves the Elder One, more powerful than the Maker. No one challenges him and lives.
That Magister's going to regret he didn't just kill me.
Our only hope is to find the amulet that Alexius used to send us here. If it still exists, I can use it to reopen the rift at the exact spot we left. Maybe.
Good.
I said, maybe. It might also turn us into paste.
You must try. Your spy master, Leliana. She is here. Find her. Quickly. Before the Elder One learns you're here.
How did the Qunari learn of the sacrifice at the temple? Speak!
Never.
Ah! There's no use to this defiance, little bird. There's no one left for you to protect.
You're wasting your breath.
Ah! Talk! The Elder One demands answers.
He'll get used to disappointment.
Ah!
You will break.
I will die first. Or you will. You're alive.
You're safe now.
Forget safe. If you came back from the dead, you need to do better than safe. You need to end this. Do you have weapons? Good. The Magister's probably in his chambers.
You aren't curious how we got here?
No.
Alexius sent us into the future. This, his victory, his Elder One, it was never meant to be.
I need to find Alexius and reverse the spell.
If we can get back to our present time, we can prevent this future from ever happening.
And mages always wonder why people fear them. No one should have this power.
It's dangerous and unpredictable. Before the breach, nothing we did.
Enough. This is all pretend to you. Some future you hope will never exist. I suffered. The whole world suffered. It was real.
What happened while we were away?
Stop talking.
I'm just asking for information.
No, you're talking to fill silence. Nothing happened that you want to hear.
Alexius, it's time to answer for your crimes.
And here you are, finally. I knew you would appear again. Not that it would be now, but I knew I hadn't destroyed you. My final failure.
Was it worth it? Everything you did to the world, to yourself.
It doesn't matter now. All we can do is wait for the end.
It does matter. I will undo this.
How many times have I tried? The past cannot be undone. All that I fought for, all that I betrayed, and what have I wrought? Ruin and death, there is nothing else. The Elder One comes for me, for you, for us all. Felix!
That's Felix. Maker's breath, Alexius, what have you done?
He would have died, Dorian. I saved him. Please, don't hurt my son. I'll do anything you ask.
Hand over the amulet and we let him go.
Let him go and I swear you'll get what you want.
I want the world back.
No.
No! I gave the world to Felix. You will not take him from me.
Wanted to die, didn't he? All those lies he told himself, the justifications. He lost Felix long ago. Didn't even notice. Oh, Alexius.
This Alexius was too far gone. But the Alexius in our time might still be reasoned with.
I suppose that's true. This is the same amulet he used before. I think it's the same one we made in Minrathous. That's a relief. Give me an hour to work out the spell he used, and I should be able to reopen the rift.
An hour? That's impossible! You must go now! The Elder One.
You cannot stay here. We'll hold the outer door. When they get past us, it'll be your turn.
We'll make this count.
The only way we live is if this day never comes. Cast your spell. You have as much time as I have arrows. Though darkness closes, I am shielded by flame. Andraste, guide me. Maker, take me to your side.
You move, and we all die!
You'll have to do better than that.
You failed, Alexius. How forgiving is your Elder One?
You won. There is no point extending this charade. Felix.
It's going to be all right, Father.
You'll die.
Everyone dies.
Well, I'm glad that's over with. Or not.
Grand Enchanter, we'd like to discuss your abuse of our hospitality.
Your Majesties.
When we offered the Mage's Sanctuary, we did not give them the right to drive our people from their homes.
King Alistair, Queen Anora, I assure you, we never intended...
In light of your actions, good intentions are no longer enough.
You and your followers have worn out your welcome. Leave Ferelden, or we'll be forced to make you leave.
But we have hundreds who need protection. Where will we go?
I should point out that we did come here from mages to close the breach.
And what are the terms of this arrangement?
Hopefully better than what Alexius gave you. The Inquisition is better than that, yes?
I suggest conscripting them. They've proven what they'll do given too much freedom.
They have lost all possible supporters. The Inquisition is their only remaining chance for freedom.
It seems we have little choice but to accept whatever you offer.
We would be honored to have you fight as allies at the Inquisition's side.
We'll discuss this later.
I'll pray that the rest of the Inquisition honors your promise then.
The breach threatens all of Thedas. We cannot afford to be divided now. We can't fight it without you. Any chance of success requires your full support.
It's a generous offer. I doubt you're going to get a better one from us.
We accept. It would be madness not to. I will gather my people and ready them for the journey to Haven. The breach will be closed. You will not regret giving us this chance.
It's not a matter for debate. There will be abominations among the mages, and we must be prepared.
If we rescind the offer of an alliance, it makes the Inquisition appear incompetent at best, tyrannical at worst.
What were you thinking, turning mages loose with no oversight? The veil is torn open.
They're not monsters, they're people. And they deserve the same respect as anyone else.
This is not about respect. Even the strongest mages can be overcome by demons in conditions like these. You were there, Seeker. Why didn't you intervene?
While I may not completely agree with the decision, I support it. The sole point of the Herald's mission was to gain the mage's aid, and that was accomplished.
The voice of pragmatism speaks. And here I was, just starting to enjoy the circular arguments.
Closing the breach is all that matters.
Closing the breach will require a lot of magic, and that means lyrium. I have contacts who can help.
Contacts meaning smugglers? Send them word. We need every advantage.
We have legitimate lyrium supply lines already.
And they don't need to hear of this.
Keep it under the table, and I'll do what I can to quiet rumors.
We should look into the things you saw in this dark future. The assassination of Empress Celine. A demon army.
Sounds like something a Tevinter cult might do. Orlais falls, the Imperium rises. Chaos for everyone.
One battle at a time. It's going to take time to organize our troops and the mage recruits. Let's take this to the war room. Join us. None of this means anything without your mark, after all.
Of course.
Meet us there when you're ready.
I'll skip the War Council, but I would like to see this breach up close, if you don't mind.
Then you're staying?
Oh, didn't I mention? The South's so charming and rustic. I adore it to little pieces.
I must admit, I'm surprised.
We both saw what could happen. What this Elder One and his cult are trying to do. Not everything from Tevinter is terrible. Some of us have fought for eons against this sort of madness. It's my duty to stand with you. That future will not come to pass.
Stay if you must, but you'll be watched.
Watch away. I have nothing to hide, and evidently plenty to prove.
I'll begin preparations to march on the summit. Make her willing, the mages will be enough to grant us victory.
And what are we supposed to do, exactly?
What you always do. Complain.
We've already spoken with Commander Cullen. No one listens. We want better quarters. We want the Templars kept at a distance. And some respect for...
This is not the Circle. You mages are our allies, not our wards. Act like it.
How are we supposed to...
Deal with it. It never ends, evidently.
You don't need to tell me that.
I just don't know who told them I'm the one to yell at.
Is it that bad?
The mages are here as equals. They need to get used to what that means. It is your doing, after all. You created this alliance.
You would have done differently, I suppose?
Oh. I do sound like I'm blaming you, don't I? I don't disapprove. In fact, you did well. You made a decision when it needed to be made. And here we are. I wish I could say this was my doing.
We wouldn't be here at all if you hadn't stood up against the Chantry.
You're being kind.
You're discounting your role in this.
Let's close the breach. Then we can say how successful I was.
The mages are ready to approach the breach. I pray this will be enough to close it.
I know you're worried about having the mages here. Give them a chance to prove themselves.
I'm not questioning their ability or their intentions, but we cannot ignore the risks. I will not endanger the alliance you've created. We need their help. Any precautions taken will be to ensure the safety of our people and the mages themselves. Nothing more.
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
What would you like to know?
Do the Templars do anything besides hunt mages?
Templars protect against the dangers of magic. Before the Order left the Chantry, that meant serving in a circle. They were also tasked with tracking apostates, or fighting demons inevitably summoned by the weak or malicious.
You've made it clear that you consider mages a threat.
Any mage can be. I won't pretend otherwise. I've seen the suffering magic can inflict. I've treated mages with distrust because of it, at times without cause. That was unworthy of me. I will try not to do so. Not that I want mages moving through our base completely unchecked. We need safeguards in place to protect people, including mages, from possession, at least.
Do Templars take vows? I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages. That sort of thing?
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given the filter, your first draft of lyrium, or its power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
What does Templar training involve?
There is weapon and combat training. Even without their abilities, Templars are among the best warriors in Thedas. Initiates must also memorize portions of the Chant of Light, study history, and improve their mental focus.
Did you enjoy your training?
I wanted to learn everything. If I was giving my life to this, I would be the best Templar I could.
You were a model student.
I wanted to be. I wasn't always successful. Watching a candle burn down while reciting the chant of transfiguration wasn't the most exciting task. I admit, my mind sometimes wandered.
Why did you join the Order?
I could think of no better calling than to protect those in need. I used to beg the Templars as our local chantry to teach me. At first, they merely humored me. I must have shown promise, or at least a willingness to learn. The Knight Captain spoke to my parents on my behalf. They agreed to send me for training. I was 13 when I left home.
13? It's still so young.
I wasn't the youngest there. Some children are promised to the Order at infancy. Still, I didn't take on full responsibilities until I was 18. The Order sees you trained and educated first.
What about your family? Did you miss them?
Of course. But there were many my age who felt the same. We learned to look out for one another.
You've lived in the Circle. What was a typical day for a Templar there?
Typical. The last time I was in a circle was right before it fell apart. Nothing was typical.
Before that, then?
Certain rituals require a full guard. A mage's howling, for instance. I've attended a few. Most of the time, you merely maintain a presence, on patrol or in the circle, ready to respond if needed. Mages pretend to ignore that presence, but they're watching you just as closely.
Do Templars and mages never speak to each other?
Some do, but Templars are supposed to maintain a certain distance from their charges. If a mage is possessed or uses blood magic, you must act quickly, without hesitation. Your judgment cannot be clouded. Of course, ignoring one another does nothing to foster understanding.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend.
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
In Redcliffe, you sacrificed yourself so that I could return here.
Of course I did. One small life in exchange for a second chance at history. I always loved a bargain.
It was still a sacrifice, and still noble.
And I would do it again.
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some good ones.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
I should leave you to your work.
We can always talk later.
The Mage Rebellion joins the Inquisition. I've got to admit that's a twist I didn't see coming. One thing you saw in the future worries me. I mean, it was all bad. But red lyrium in Ferelden, infecting people and growing out of them, that's bad. Finding more of it really punches a hole in my red lyrium at the temple was a coincidence theory.
How long does it take for red lyrium to grow? How fast can it spread?
It took years to infect people in Kirkwall, but no one there was actually ingesting the stuff. This Elder One managed to take the worst thing I can think of and make it worse. That's an accomplishment.
We can't leave a single piece of that lyrium out in the wild.
I'm with you on that. I've got people trying to find out where the red stuff came from. I think maybe we should make that a priority. But that's enough doom and gloom. You just won a big victory for the Inquisition. What are you going to do to celebrate?
We can't know what's coming. Best not to get too comfortable.
I can't disagree with that. But maybe you should try to relax while you can. Things should be calm around here for at least the next hour. Take a moment to enjoy it. If the world's about to end, I'm sure the Seeker will let us know.
So we have gained the mages. Excellent. They should be able to seal the breach. You are certain you experienced time travel? Could it have been an illusion? A trick of the Fade?
I know what I saw. It was real.
What an amazing gift. It is vital the Inquisition succeed to avoid the future you witnessed.
I'm surprised you're not more interested in your own future.
I know enough. If that future happened, then I, and Cassandra, Callan and the rest, failed to stop this Elder One. Speaking of which, you should ready yourself. For? This Elder One. You have now interfered with his plans twice. Once at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, and now again at Redcliffe. A being who aspires to godhood is unlikely to ignore such an affront.
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Halamsharal? Cows milking farmers?
I take it you don't agree.
On the contrary, I approve. Heartily. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
So what? They all turn into blood mages, worship dragons, and then take over?
Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
You certainly think highly of yourself.
It's true. I could be more modest, but I'd be lying. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the Magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
I'm getting the impression you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems so much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way, For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care deeply about everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some Magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew.